Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're not just talking theory. We're stepping right into the operating room.
Right into one of the most complex procedures there is.
We're looking at what I think is just a peak example of high-stakes biological engineering. It's not just about, removing something bad. It's about dismantling the body's engine and then putting it all back together.
And hoping it starts again. It's arguably the most intricate abdominal surgery out there. It's like being a plumber, an architect, and a demolition crew all at once.
In a tiny, tiny space.
Exactly.
So we're talking about the Whipple procedure,
Yeah.
but specifically a variation called the Pylorus preserving Whipple. And our guide for this, our entire source, is Dr. G.S. Raju's YouTube channel. It gives this just incredible surgeon's eye view.
It's a fantastic resource. It really is. It takes what looks like total chaos inside the abdomen and turns it into a clear, understandable map.
And that's our mission today. We want to understand that map. We're going to figure out how surgeons treat cancer in the head of the pancreas by taking out organs and then completely rebuilding the digestive tract.
And this is the key part, while saving one specific little valve to improve the patient's quality of life.
That's the whole point, that balance between aggression and preservation.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's start with the aggression part, the demolition. We've got a tumor in the head of the pancreas. Now, anatomically, the pancreas isn't just floating around in there by itself, is it?
Oh, not at all. That's what makes this so tricky. The head of the pancreas is, it's nestled right into the curve of the duodenum.
Which is the very first part of the small intestine.
Right. Imagine the duodenum is like a C-shaped tube. The head of the pancreas fits right into that C. They're locked together.
Looking at the diagrams from the source, they look almost fused.
They basically are. They share a blood supply, which is critical. The same arteries that feed the duodenum also feed the head of the pancreas. You can't just peel one off the other.
Ah, so you can't just take the tumor out.
No.
You need to get out the whole neighborhood.
It's a package deal. To get what we call clean margins, to make sure all the cancer is gone, you have to take the whole block. The resection, the cutting part, is massive.
So what goes?
Well, the head of the pancreas, obviously. But because they're connected, you also lose the entire duodenum.
The whole duodenum. Wow. I mean, that's the digestive mixing bowl, right? Where food meets all the juices.
It is, and it's gone. But that's not all. You also have to remove the gallbladder.
The gallbladder, too. Why?
Because the main bile duct, which carries bile from the liver, runs right through the head of the pancreas on its way to the intestine. When you remove the pancreas head, you have to cut that duct.
And the gallbladder is attached to that system.
Right, it's upstream. It just becomes a dead end, so it has to go as well.
Okay, so let's recap. Head of the pancreas, gallbladder, bile duct, the entire duodenum. Gone. And in an older style Whipple, they might even take part of the stomach.
Yes, for a long time, they'd take the lower part of the stomach, the antrum. It was just considered standard.
But this deep dive is about the Pylorus preserving Whipple. So this is where the surgeon hits the brakes.
That is the crucial difference. They stop right at the stomach's exit valve. They meticulously separate the duodenum from the stomach right at the pylorus.
So let's talk about the pylorus. It's just a valve, a muscular ring. In this massive surgery, why is saving this one little ring such a big deal?
It's all about control. The stomach is a reservoir. It holds food, churns it with acid, and the pylorus is the gatekeeper. It opens and closes to let a little bit of partially digested food out at a time. It regulates the flow.
And if you don't have it?
Then the stomach is just a funnel. Gravity just pulls food right through and it dumps into the intestine way too quickly.
Dumping, that sounds medically unpleasant.
That's a real diagnosis, dumping syndrome.
Yeah.
The body completely freaks out. It pulls tons of fluid into the gut trying to dilute the food, and the patient gets nausea, cramping, a racing heart, huge blood sugar swings.
So you could be cancer-free, but you can't eat a meal without feeling terrible.
Exactly. It can absolutely ruin your quality of life. By preserving the pylorus, the surgeon keeps that natural braking system. The stomach can do its job. It makes a huge difference.
Amazing. Okay, so we've done the demolition, we've preserved the pylorus, but now the patient has a stomach that leads nowhere, a liver dripping bile, and a pancreas leaking digestive enzymes.
It's a critical moment. You have to put it all back together, and those connections, the anastomosis, they have to be perfect.
Anastomosis is just the surgical term for a connection, for joining two tubes together.
Yes, and here we have to make 3 new connections. The hero of the reconstruction is the next part of the intestine, the jejunum.
Right, that was downstream from the duodenum we removed.
So the surgeon pulls up a loop of that jejunum and basically uses it as the new hub. The first connection, and the trickiest, is the pancreaticogymostomy.
That sounds like pancreas to jejunum.
Correct. You're sewing the raw, cut edge of the pancreas to the wall of the intestine. This is the Achilles heel of the whole operation.
Why is it so hard?
The tissue of the pancreas is like incredibly soft. It's like trying to sew wet tissue paper. And it's producing enzymes that are designed to digest protein, including the stitches you're putting in.
So it's actively trying to digest its own repair.
In a way, yes. A leak here is the complication surgeons fear most.
Okay, so you've connected the pancreas. What's next?
A little further down that loop of jejunum, you make the second connection, the pseudojejunostomy.
That's the bile duct.
The bile duct, right. You need the bile from the liver to get into the intestine to digest fats. So you sew the open end of the bile duct into the jejunum.
So now the new plumbing has pancreatic juice, and it has bile flowing into it, but no food yet.
Not yet. That's the final step. Even further downstream, you make the gastrojejunostomy.
Gastro for stomach.
Exactly. You connect the stomach, specifically that pylorus we saved, to the jejunum. So the food comes out of the stomach and immediately meets that stream of digestive juices flowing down from the other two connections.
It's a completely new system, but it mimics the old one.
That's the goal. It's a total rerouting, but it's designed to restore function.
Incredible. But Dr. Raju's breakdown doesn't stop there. He talks about the long term, about what happens years later if that patient needs another procedure.
Yes, the ERCP. This is so important. Imagine it's 10 years later, your Whipple patient comes in with jaundice. You think maybe they have a gallstone stuck in the bile duct.
In a normal person, you just run a scope down their throat, find the opening, and deal with it.
But here the map is totally different. If you don't know the new anatomy, you're lost.
Okay, let's do this. I'm the doctor. I'm holding the endoscope. Guide me through it.
All right. You put the scope down the patient's throat first. Stop the esophagus.
Easy enough.
Then you pop into the stomach. You navigate down through the stomach, past the antrum, and you see it. The landmark. The pylorus.
The valve we saved.
You push the scope through it, and you're now in the jejunum. This is the confusing part. You're at a Y intersection. If you go downstream with the flow of food, you'll just end up in the intestines.
So where do I go?
You have to find what's called the afferent limb.
Afferent, as in arriving.
Exactly. It's the incoming limb. It's the piece of intestine that's bringing the bile and pancreatic juice to the stomach connection. You have to turn and drive the scope upstream against the current.
Driving up a one-way street the wrong way.
A perfect analogy. You navigate up this limb, and you're looking for tiny openings on the intestinal wall.
The connections the surgeon made a decade ago.
First, you'll see the bile duct connection, the choledochogenostomy.
Right.
Then further up, the pancreas connection. Once you find the bile duct opening, you can thread a tiny catheter into it.
And that's how you get access.
That's it. You inject dye. It lights up the bile ducts on an X-ray. That's a cholangiogram. And you can see if there's a stone or a blockage.
And if you didn't know about that afferent limb, you'd be completely lost.
Utterly. That's why understanding this new anatomy is so critical, not just for the surgeon, but for any doctor who treats that patient for the rest of their life.
It's incredible. The surgeon isn't just fixing a problem today. They're building a new roadmap that has to be readable by others years down the line.
It's a true continuum of care. It's about foresight, thinking, how will this person live with this new anatomy?
So when you wrap it all together, the resection, the preservation, the reconstruction, what's the big takeaway from the pylorus preserving Whipple?
I think it's adaptability. The human body is it's surprisingly modular. You can remove these huge central components, and if you reroute the piping correctly, the system finds a way to work.
But saving the pylorus is key to that. It's like you're giving the body a piece of its old self to work with.
Exactly. You're bridging the gap between this very artificial reconstruction and the body's natural physiology. You're letting it keep its own rhythm. It's a beautiful mix of engineering and biology.
And for someone with pancreatic cancer, getting back to a new normal that feels at all familiar, that's everything.
It's the entire goal.
We have covered so much ground today. A huge thank you for walking us through that.
It's a complex topic, but fascinating.
And I want to say again, all of this incredible insight came from our deep dive into Dr. G.S. Raju's YouTube channel, a really amazing resource.
Definitely worth checking out.
I guess I'd leave you with this thought. We think of our bodies as these fixed things, but this procedure shows we're actually kind of hackable. We can be rewired. But the best hacks seem to be the ones that really respect the original design. Saving the pylorus is respecting the design. It makes you wonder what other small, seemingly minor parts of our original code we'll realize are absolutely essential as medicine moves forward.
That's the question, isn't it?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
My pleasure.